But regardless, the point is, my question, Donald Bryson, is if you are saying if you're going to run for president, you better stop being meow, right? Why are you thinking about how other people are going to react to me as a presidential candidate rather than thinking about your own reaction to me as a presidential candidate? I mean, is your own reaction that you'd never vote for me because I'd be a bad president, that you don't trust me, that in fact I'm not competent, I'm not telling the truth, suppressed rage or whatever? Do you actually believe that? It's not true. I mean, it would be much easier for me and more peaceful in my heart to detach from reading about politics entirely. Because when I read about it, it makes me very sad. I am genuinely a patriot. Here's an example of the thing that upsets me. It proves to you that I'm not suppressed rage. When I heard on NPR one day driving around, a police officer during the Dallas shootings refer to the citizens as civilians, it made me burst into tears. Because, of course, you know, this is a citizen democracy where citizens, I'm not a Trump supporter. No. Where citizens are supposed to rule themselves, right? The police are a citizen law enforcement organization. Civilians are people who are occupied by an army. So that's the sort of passion I have for the country. Note that it's not suppressed rage. It is, in fact, a deep-seated sorrow at the decay of our civic values, at the decay of people being aware no police officer should ever refer to a fellow citizen as a civilian. We are not in a war zone. They are not an invading army. So it's like, why does that upset me so much? Because it reveals how little people know how to think and talk about our shared citizen democracy. It shows me how quickly it will fall into a state of totalitarian little sets of bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
Who do I support as a president? Myself. I'm running for president in 2024. I think the current president has dementia and is not therefore qualified to hold office. I think the previous president was an absolute clusterfuck of a disaster. I think the president before that did an immense amount of harm and almost no good. I think the president before that did an immense amount of harm and almost no good. Clinton wasn't too bad. Carter was weak, but didn't really do anything. So it didn't really do any harm.
Yeah.
Ford obviously was just a feller. Nixon, a crook. JFK, fucking too activist in his president. Remember, the president is an executive. It is not the legislature, right? It is not the president's job to write legislation. It's not the president's job to advocate a legislative agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I'm in favor of sensible American democracy. I'm not a libertarian. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a conservative. I'm a sensible man. I'm a sensible citizen who grew up in a time and with a father who made him into a genuine civics patriot, who believed in the Supreme Court preserving rights, who believed in the legislature dealing with problems, who believed in the president being a representative of the country and not of a subset of children who yell loudest. You know, I'm tired of presidents representing children. Isn't it time for the adults in the country to have a president that represents them?
Well said.
Reagan was bad too. But yeah, Reagan was bad. I hated Reagan so much back when Reagan was around.
Did you?
Now in retrospect, he seems mild compared to more recent presidents.
It's true.
But, the last time anything as bad as Trump happened was Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was another ESFP president. And those are the two low points in the nation's history, frankly, is when the executive branch has no respect for the laws. And you get a disaster called Andrew Jackson or disaster called Donald Trump. Let's see here. Do I play Fortnite? No, I don't really play any video games. I've been known to play a game of chess or two with people around here. Not very good at it. I'm okay at it, I guess. President, I will not be running for a second term. I'm serving 4 years and that's it. I don't want to serve 2 terms. So I'll tell everybody that right away. I'll guarantee going in, I will not run for a second term. And you will not talk me into it. And you're not going to, 4 years from now, you're not going to hear me backpedaling on this. I'm done after 1 term. I will make that clear throughout the campaign.
What do you guys think about PP being first cat? Or house cat? What do they call?
Hi, James Sorrell. Because 1 term fulfills my duty as a patriot. I don't feel I owe the country 8 years. I feel I owe it 4 years.
4 years is a good amount of time.
8 years is a long fucking time.
A long time. I went to Polk Street School in elementary school.
Polk got more good shit done in 1 term than just about any other president that's gotten done in 2 terms. Polk was an impressive guy. Polk's a pragmatist. He's not an agenda-based guy, right? He's a pragmatist. That's what you're going to get from me too, is recognizing that the job of the executive is to execute the laws of the country and stuff and be the commander-in-chief and stuff in ways that are both considering a lot of factors, considering the perspective of the constituency. So not doing shit that's hugely unpopular just because you want to, right? But also considering matters of principle, being willing to do things that are unpopular when it's necessary. Also considering capacity to change narrative. In other words, if something's unpopular, but I'm right, I should be able to convince people that it should be popular, right? Also considering the fact that sometimes you can't get what you want and you have to make compromises. You know, it's like, this is how a sane adult talks about things. Have you heard any other candidate ever talk like this?
No, not in recent years. Not even 10 years.
So yeah, I plan to be president, and I got to tell you, I'll still be live streaming every day though. I'm going to set aside at least an hour, maybe half an hour is all I'll give you. Half an hour maybe to live stream every day, because I'm going to have a lot to talk about at the end of every day, because I've been doing a bunch of stuff all day, right? So I'll be like, oh, Jesus. So let me tell you about the CIA briefing this morning. Boy, oh boy, are those CIA guys nuts.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
I mean, wouldn't you like to be able to have those conversations with the president every night? If you wanted to check in, every night on how the country's doing. Have the president actually go on there and say, well, this is what I did today. And do you have any questions?
That's nice.
And I'm not interested in hiding shit. It's the people's business, right? The president does the people's business. It doesn't do his business. Trump kept mistaking the presidency for his office. It's the office of the president. It's the office of the commander-in-chief. One is privileged enough to fill that role at the discretion of the voters and is expected to be grown up enough to handle it.
I feel like I'd be a good first lady.
Okay, you'd be a great first lady.
Thanks.
And I think that you would do a great job of like, if I get called away during the live stream by crisis with North Korea, you can continue talking about celebrities and stuff until I get back.
Thanks. I'm glad you don't mind me talking about pop culture.
I mean, that's America, right?
Really
I care about pop culture too. America is a confluence of a lot of different things. I love pop culture, and I love intellectual shit too. And I love anime, and I love, it's like I like a lot of stuff, like anybody. So on executive orders, My first business with executive orders is to get the Justice Department to help me structure out a way to get the courts to address the question of what's the scope of executive order power. I'd like to conscribe that. I'd like to limit it somewhat from what it currently is. I think the scope of executive power is too broad right now and not as it should be, as indicated in the Constitution. So I'd like to get clarity from the courts on the scope of that power. And I'd like to set precedent of it having more limited scope rather than more expansive scope. Currently, presidents think they can do whatever the fuck they want, and they shouldn't. That's not the job.
No, it's not the job at all. Aren't they public servants?
Yeah, they're public servants, but they don't really act like it, do they? Typically,
no.
There's no. I mean, what I just said. Like, wouldn't that be nice if you could hear the president actually talk about what he did every day for half an hour or something, and ask a couple questions and have a president who wanted to answer the hard questions rather than wanted to avoid them, wanted to give you real answers rather than just answer a different question because they don't like that or whatever, like everybody else does.
I know I do.
You'll never catch me avoiding the substantive point that someone's making. I will take it. If I misunderstand it at first, maybe I might need clarification, but you will never catch me purposely avoiding someone's argument in order to win without actually addressing it or something. Never. I won't do that. So you will be heard under a Strauss presidency. Your positions that you favor, they will be heard and respected as alternative positions. So I don't think that stupid lady who talks about the like, what do they call it? Crisis sectors stuff. I don't think that stupid lady should be punished for her craziness, but she certainly should never have been elected to be a congresswoman.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Green.
But the thing is, what she should do, having said that, is there should be a general expectation that she has to stand with me, the president. The president's going, okay, well, I heard you said all this bullshit. Come justify it. And then she has to get her ass fucking grilled and schooled in front of the nation. That's the consequence. If she has enough argumentation to back it up, then we go, oh, maybe she's right. Of course, she doesn't. And so she gets exposed as an idiot. And that's right, too. Not some formal punishment, right? Having to explain yourself to Eric is punishment enough for anybody. If I have, as the president, if I were going to want any kind of arbitrary power, it would be the power to subpoena other government officials before me to read them the fucking riot act.
That would be so epic. I don't even know. People don't know. People don't know it. What hammer?
Maybe that's the first executive order question I'll have the courts decide. Do I actually have the power to subpoena individual government officials, not regular citizens, not only public officials, only federal public servants, before me to yell at them? And then the courts can tell me if I do or not.
Let me tell you.
I want the courts to actually have to take a stand on executive orders. In the past, they've always been in opposition with the presidency on some level, like, well, we want to keep the separate powers thing, and the president's always pushing for more power, right? Well, this time we're going to go in there, and I'm going to be on the same page as the constitutionalists and the jurists and say, let's knock this shit off. We don't need a fucking king with decree power. It's ridiculous.
Let me tell you.